Bam, what up, Yang Gang? Welcome back to the Trickle Up. And tonight again, of course, we have Cheyenne for UBI from TikTok and Matt with Mute the Media on TikTok. What do you got on the low for us tonight there, Shy?
So they recently did a study that involved 62,000 plus patients of people who had COVID and examined what happened in their lives, like, 1 month after, 3 months after, et cetera, et cetera. And they discovered a pattern that potentially if you had, I believe what they call long COVID, you're at a higher risk of developing a neurological disorder, which I think coincides with just how we've all been living for the last year. So I think it's kind of hard to really analyze such a thing. So I'm like, well, yeah, of course, anxiety is going up for people who had long COVID. Like, I think anxiety is going up for everybody, among other things. But some of it's more serious, like strokes and brain hemorrhages. So.
Well, like my oldest stepson, Caleb, he actually got COVID in college in his dorm. Then they made a dorm for COVID students. It's like a leper colony. And he had to survive that. But he said he still can. That was it back in January? So it's like 3 or 4 months ago. And if the food isn't close to him, he cannot smell it. He cannot smell food from any kind of a distance still. And he literally, it attacks your lungs, right? It's a big time lung thing.
They say this when they're trying to encourage longtime smokers to quit, and that even if you smoked for 20 years, if you stop smoking for 20 years, the amount of repair the human body does on the lungs is remarkable. So like, I have hope that, even people who got a bad case of COVID can, over time, the human body can turn it around for the mood. Because if we can come back from like chain smokers.
I'll break it down from the medical point of view. They've already shown some cases of scarring in the brain, which causes increased risk of stroke, and thickening of the artery walls, increasing your risk of cardiac arrest and blood clots. Because of everything, if it's hardening the arteries, they become less flexible. They catch the platelets, they form clots. So it's possible our body could regenerate that, but hardening of artery walls usually doesn't get thinner over time later in life. It just gets worse. So I have a funny feeling that maybe 30 years from now, heart attacks and strokes are going to be a real normalized experience for people that are, well, alive, that had COVID. Doesn't matter how old you are. And that's what and the thing is, people that had COVID and didn't have symptoms can still have some scarring.
So to Kitty's point, basically what this study is indicating potentially, and I think we all saw it coming anyway, is like we're going to have an increased number of disabled people in our society. We're going to have an increased number of people with mental health issues, which is already at 1 in 7. Like, we already had a mental health crisis we were trying to ignore. And like so much of our treatment plans are just like archaic stuff that's like from a time when we didn't even treat them like humans. So yeah, I'm like, we should start yesterday planning like how we're going to deal with this new.
Well, I think there's 2 comments in here too. Kitty says viruses can penetrate the blood-brain barrier, of course, wreak havoc on the nervous system, of course, which I'm interested to see what kind of increased risk of epilepsy as well that might come from this. You just never know. And then the other one is want to see more. It says, instead of a shot, we can test for COVID antibodies. Our COVID antibody test is really not that great. Still is not that great. First of all, we don't know how long the antibodies last still, so the antibody test doesn't really tell you shit unless it's a really high amount, which means you just had it. We don't know how long that lasts. I watched a video of a guy that was like a biochemical engineer type. He got the virus, he got the vaccine, and he did his own blood work, and he goes, okay, here I am, here's today, here's 3 days from now, here's a week from now, here's a month from now, and look how quickly this thing is like the virus, the antibodies are formed in 3 days. Boom. The second shot, then it's completely saturated, like it's 100% inoculated. He goes, now I'm gonna let this sit here We're going to see how long that sucker lasts. And he's going to keep checking his own. So he took a picture of it and did a chemical analysis of that too. Parts per million business they do for the what do you call it? The saturation levels. But he's going to check himself in a month again, then in a month again, and kind of keep saying, okay, document it. That's what they do. He's going to share it with us on TikTok. How awesome is TikTok for sharing information? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I found out about the study. A doctor shared it on TikTok, and then I went and looked up the journal he was talking about.
We don't know. So all of these new health risks and mental health risks long term, we could see a significant portion of this of our budget going to disability. So why don't we just do UBI right frickin' now?
But yeah, I was like,
be proactive.
You have to do both. But I'm like, good.
Yeah.
Good. That whole system needs to be revamped. It's dehumanizing.
Well, to me, there's not going to be any jobs left anyway to really even fight about. So everyone's disabled from working in that situation. Not physically, all of us, or not mentally, all of us, but structurally, we're all disabled from the workforce because we're not an AI. We're not a robot. You know what I mean? So pretty soon, everyone's going to get a base pay of $30,000 a year, what it might be today that makes just a basics, whatever disability is, I have no idea. But
yeah, it's way less than that. But yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Yeah,
it would horrify you, and that's for the people that actually get on it.
But yeah, we got a question in here. Ariel says, "I wonder if you can get over COVID for a month or two and can still spread it." Likely, but we don't have enough evidence yet to say yes or no. So it's possible because I've had my vaccine since January like 12th was my first one. So like the first week of February, I got my second one. So since February, I've had it in my system, and that's what, 4 months ago, 3 months ago, I mean. So it's still possible for me to get COVID. I'm not immune. I'm not immune to COVID. It's inoculated. So if I do get it, I have it has very little chance of reproducing, but I could still pass it on for maybe a short window. That's why I still wear a mask every day, because it's still possible for me to have it on my surface, in my lungs. My body's going to kill it, but it's possible to cough it out, aspirate it, or exhale it, touch my hands, touch my face, touch a surface, you touch your surface, you touch your face. It's possible. We just don't have enough data yet to really confirm that. But yeah, so this is not great news, unfortunately. Not a lot of great news tonight, but it is the reality. It's good news if it's real.
Well, and news that like we need to start doing preventative. We need to start taking action on is important to talk about. So
yes, but yeah, let us know what you guys think about that in the comment section. Have you had COVID? Have you had long COVID? They're calling. We have reoccurring long-term fatigue, loss of appetite, increased depression, difficulty breathing, and smell and taste. All those are part of the long COVID. I've experienced with my patients, but I haven't personally experienced it. So if you guys have had it in the comment section, let us know what you've experienced and how long you've had delayed effects like this ongoing. Love to hear more information from personal experiences. But while you guys are here, go ahead and hit that like button, share, subscribe, the whole usual thing, and go check out Cheyenne for UBI. I said it right this time, first time. Good job, boys. On TikTok, and of course, Matt with Mute the Media. And in the Twitter Spaces, we have Ariel on Twitter. All of our stuff's in the description box. Thanks for joining us. We see you guys next time. And like always, gang, gang.